Let's talk about money. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how much I've made on YouTube over the last 2 years, what worked and what fell flat. I'll tell you how my expenses matched up to my income and consider the value of a YouTube channel during a time when the media environment is changing rapidly. Finally, I'm going to weigh in on why so many prominent YouTubers have decided to throw in the towel in the last month, and whether or not having a channel like this is really a viable career path at all. So let's get into it. Though I've technically been on YouTube for 18 years, I only really started putting effort into it about 2 years ago. When I experimented with different editing software, I hired a series of video editors and pursued the dream of YouTube virality. In that time, I've uploaded more than 200 videos, including a handful of hits. This one about a bizarre neuroscience experiment rocketed up to 2.2 million views. Others have clocked it at over 100,000. But despite those successes, the truth is that the vast majority of what I've put online hasn't really made anywhere near that impact. And sometimes it's hard to know if it's really worth all the effort that I've put into it. When I started as a journalist almost 20 years ago, I managed to get bylines in some of the biggest publications in the world. I had a few-year stint as a contributing editor at Wired magazine. I had pieces on NPR, in Mother Jones, Washington Post, Men's Journal, and I was once even shirtless in Playboy. I wrote 6 books, including one that spent a few months on the New York Times bestseller list and has sold about 300,000 copies around the world so far. All that mainstream success has brought me firmly into the American middle class. I have a house, a wife, a couple of cats, and a pair of media companies. I am very proud of those achievements, but also mindful that they were facilitated by the built-in reach of media conglomerates. The work is good, but there's a cost for working for somebody else. I have made a lot of good money, but lost a lot of control in the process. It takes a long time for a book to get published, and during that process, an author is largely at the mercy of a revolving cast of editors who often were never on the project to begin with, and the whims of a publisher's marketing team, which frankly often doesn't have the slightest idea how to sell books. At some point, I'd love to tell you more about mainstream publishing, but since this video is about YouTube, I'm going to try to stay on topic. If you want to know more about what it is to work for mainstream media, well, let me know down in the comments. Suffice it to say, 2 years ago, I wanted to try something new, and I love how social media offers a way to reach my audience directly without any filter. A lot of people that I used to work with and be friends with had outstanding success on YouTube. I went to college with John Green and followed his trajectory with the Vlog Brothers all the way back at the dawn of this platform. I wrote a chapter in my book, The Wedge, about Andrew Huberman, which came out about 6 months before he founded what has become one of the internet's most cherished podcasts. I also made friends with Joe Scott and Rohan Francis, who made this sort of YouTubing that I want to do look easy. So I thought that just maybe I could have a fraction of their success and ditch my corporate overlords forever. But it was a risky proposition because bucking that mainstream meant that instead of making money, I would actually have to spend it on production with no guarantee of any real return. So in January 2021, I set a goal of having 50,000 followers after 6 months and making at least enough money on YouTube ads to cover the expenses of a bona fide YouTube editor, which comes out to about $500 a month. What I didn't realize was how steep the learning curve would really be. Success on YouTube isn't as much about putting out high-quality content as it is about getting the algorithm to show your content to enough people so that you have a chance for it to take off. There is a whole game to it that involves anticipating what an algorithm wants to feed viewers and not really what viewers might find valuable. Because if you don't click on a video and get through the first 30 seconds or so, there is no chance you will learn how awesome the rest of that video will be. It is a conundrum that leads to clickbait. Theoretically, there's a tipping point where enough people simply know you and respect what you're going to say that they give you a chance anyway. And your videos are maybe, they have a little leg up in taking off. But I have no idea what that number actually is. It's well over 100,000. It might be like 500,000 followers. After a year and a half of posting, however, I found out something that sort of upended my world. Subscriber counts don't even seem to matter for small channels like mine. Here's what happened. On March 1st, 2023, I put out a particularly promising video. It had a good thumbnail, a snazzy title, and I optimistically thought it had a chance to finally be the one that blew up. And let's be honest, I think that about every video before I press publish. I set it up as a live premiere, and, well, here are the numbers. The premiere garnered a grand total of just 5 live viewers and racked up 411 after 24 hours, which is not super impressive. And then, like a lot of other videos on this channel, pretty much nothing. From March until August, it only got about 10 or 20 views a day. And then suddenly, like out of nowhere, it exploded. And I don't know exactly why the algorithm picked it up at that point. What I can say is that I saw a bunch of hits on my website from a university, which made me think it might have been given as a class assignment. And maybe that was the impetus. But the result was amazing. It started getting hundreds of thousands of views a day for the entire month of September. It was my most popular video, like literally overnight. Until that year, an entire year and a half of YouTubing had grossed me just a little over $2,000 for about $9,000 in expenses. It was hard to continually put in days and weeks, and at least one case, more than 6 months into scripting, researching, editing, and fact-checking, only to reap a few hundred, or at best a few thousand views at a time. I had also been taking a fair amount of harassment from people who claim that my reporting is, get this, supported by Big Pharma or George Soros or some other malevolent entity. Hundreds of people were harassing me, and, well, frankly, they still do, assuming that I'm getting rich off my videos that contradict how they want to see the world. It's a whole thing. But the split brain video, well, it seemed to change everything. And here's how it broke down. At the end of October, I got a check for $5,458, and I felt flush with internet cash. Things have died down a bit since then, but that one video still contributes a significant amount of my daily traffic, typically getting around 1,000 new views a day. All told, it has made me $6,228. That's about 2/3 of what I've made on YouTube in my entire run. To date, with about 300 videos, and I think that includes shorts, I have made $9,700 in 2 years. And yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of depressing. The amount of money that I've put into this channel doesn't only include the cost of editors, but also legal expenses, insurance and administrative fees around incorporating an LLC, and all told, everything included, I think I've spent between $15,000 and $20,000 in 2 years, with only one truly successful video to show for it. And this doesn't count actually paying myself for the time that I put into it. YouTube videos take up a lot of time to produce. Between scripting and editing and launching, every video you see on this channel takes, at a minimum, days to put together. If I'd simply decided to, say, write another book with a mainstream publisher instead of making this channel, I would have had conservatively walked away with at least $100,000 and more likely several multiples of that. And wow, I mean, it's strange to actually do the math. What the hell am I doing here? I mean, it's funny because when I started putting this script together for the video yesterday morning, I figured that I would get to this point in the script and point to how the channel was growing and how the value of having direct access to my audience was payment in and of itself. But I still haven't met my subscriber goal that I set back in 2021. I mean, I really enjoy thinking big thoughts and the freedom to put out what I want when I want it. And I love the encouragement that I get from many of my commenters, probably you who's watching this video right now. And I'm truly grateful for the support that you've shown me since I began. But it's also true that there's no obvious path to make this like an actual career to achieve like a middle class dream. It's easy to get the impression that all of the video creators you see on this platform are able to make a stable business on the internet. I mean, my feed is full of video after video about what it takes to make the perfect thumbnail and social media. And it sells a dream that there's a level playing field out there that anyone can access. Heck, I mean, if you think about it, it seems like any 13-year-old kid can pay for college just by streaming a few hours of Minecraft. The truth is a lot more complex. Success on YouTube isn't so much a career path as it is a series of lottery tickets. Yes, when you scroll through your feed, you'll see an endless narrative of internet success. And to the casual user, it can seem like the most random content can pop and let the money roll in. But that vision is selection bias presented to you by the algorithm itself. Your feed is full of success stories because those are the videos that are getting views, and the algorithm then presents it to you. It deliberately doesn't show you the hundreds of millions of videos that never take off. According to several sources on the internet that I've looked up over the last couple days, the average YouTube video garners around 5,400 views. But that number is a mean, which means that it's likely skewed upwards by the large number of total views on the platform held by just a fraction of the super successful videos. As far as I can tell, YouTube doesn't publish a median figure, which would give a truer accounting, and would it give a much lower number. My guess is that the median number gets less than 300 views per video. Even so, at typical AdSense pay rates, 5,400 views is only worth about $20, which is not nearly enough to support someone who is actually doing this for a living. So is it worth it to have a YouTube channel if you happen to not be one of those people who isn't YouTube famous? Is there any middle ground? Well, this is probably a good time for me to mention that the creator economy offers a dream of financial independence without a roadmap for how to get there. It is clear that the path to success just can't rely on one source of revenue. Rather, it requires many at once, which is where you, my dear viewer, can play a vital role. A few months ago, I started posting my videos early to my community on Patreon, and I would love you to try it out. Where YouTube values people in tranches of 1,000 at a time, on Patreon, your individual support matters a tremendous amount to keeping this show viable. So go over and check that out. I've put a link down in the description and pinned a comment to the top of this video. You can also check out my Substack newsletter, which is still free. And of course, like and share this video so that lottery ticket I purchased when I posted this on my channel has a chance to pay off, because somehow the algorithm wants that more than anything else. So what does the future hold for YouTube creators like me, and you if you're planning to get into it? I can't tell you for sure, except that despite the challenges and this channel's own problematic finances, the truth is that the entire media industry at large has undergone a sea change. Since 2010, jobs in the mainstream media have plummeted. Now, from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, they have noted that in 2010, there were 260,000 newspaper jobs. Today, there are fewer than 80,000. Magazines that used to pay more than $5 a word back in 2000 when I started are now basically all shuttered. My dream is not to be super famous. I'd like to find a way to make my various channels, newsletters, all that stuff add up to just a decent middle class income all on their own. And I have a few advantages that do keep me afloat. I still make pretty decent money on book sales, and I have to admit, well, YouTube videos are still really fun for me to work on. And I predict that I'm going to keep it up for like a little while yet, regardless of what the money looks like, but that could change down the road. For now, I am stuck in that dream that perhaps if I keep on buying those internet lottery tickets, the almighty YouTube algorithm will look in my direction and send something that I've done back into the stratosphere. Just in case you want to check out some of the videos that I think are particularly awesome, but like maybe didn't take off, take a look at one of these undiscovered gems on the screen right now. And until next time, from PokeyBear LLC, for now, which is located in Mexico City, this was Magnetic North.